All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the China Major North American Qualifiers. We have our first day of action, 3 days to come, ultimately trying to figure out which 3 teams here from the North America region are advancing onto the Major, and how many of the others will have to settle for trying to qualify for the minor event, which is obviously not the worst deal ever. But point is, we got 3 teams ultimately qualifying. This is going to be some Group A action. If I'm not mistaken, yes, it is some Group A action. To kick it all off, we have compLexity Gaming going up against Plus Ultra here in this best of 3 game number 1. Now, the draft has begun, but real quickly, you're looking at the teams. Obviously, you recognize plenty of players over there on Plus Ultra's side. This is Eternal Envy's new squad with Monkeys, Forever, Sneyking, Fear, and their 5th player, a bit of an unknown player, Shisu. I'm being told I personally don't know much about him, but an up-and-coming player. He is going to be their mid in this case, so looking forward to him. And then you have compLexity on the other side. Obviously, you have Limp and Z-Freak, but 3 new players, 343, a name that they played with before, a.k.a. Adam. You have Miracle from Southeast Asia. He's come over. He's going to be their core position 1. And then Death. Death is this new player that, once again, an up-and-coming. He's their offlaner for the team. So there you go. We got that rundown out of the way. I'm BreakyCPK, joined by Elevated as my co-caster. How you doing, man?
Great googly mooglies, Breaky. This is the most hyped series that we've had since OG against EG at TI. We've got the rivalry. Okay. We've got the former Sneyking and Eternal Envy, former compLexity players going up against their old squad. We've got the return of Fear Dota, Fear Darkness, a.k.a. the godfather of NA Dota. Yeah. And I'm very excited.
As I even tweeted out, I looked at the schedule to see who we're going to be casting today, and I got to say, I'm happy we got this one, because talk about, I mean, you're right, it's hyping for many reasons. I'm a compLexity fanboy, people know that by now, but, this is a bit of a new roster in the fact they're going up against their very former teammates in Sneyking and Eternal Envy just a month ago. That much more spice to the pasta, or I don't know if it's spice pasta. Anyways, we got the first 2 picks on either side, so let's start talking about the draft and what we're dealing with. Magnus, that first pick, Sand King Shadow Shaman, the next 2, and then Skywrath Mage making an appearance. Now, we're coming from casting South America these last 3 days. I can't say we saw a lot of Skywrath Mage really at all, but I have been watching other regions here and there. This hero apparently is gaining a lot of attention.
Yeah, this is a different era of Dota. I mean, just look at the bans. Banning Dazzle, banning PA, banning Brewmaster, Coddle, Grimstroke, Io. A little bit more standard bans on the compLexity side, but who would have thought we'd be casting a game where Phantom Assassin was banned? I did not.
She's no doubt been one of the higher tier cores, I think is very fair to say. I'm also intrigued by that Coddle ban, though. That is something coming out from compLexity. That whole disco ball that he throws down now, the hero's definitely changed a bit, but disco ball it's definitely a good team fight tool potentially. So I'm curious to eventually see the Coddle, but not going to be seen here as compLexity respect banning it initially.
Yeah, and very interesting thing to note is that Sneyking is actually playing the 4 for Plus Ultra. Monkeys Forever is playing the 3, and Sneyking, who has traditionally always been an offlaner, is now on the position 4. So it will be interesting to see how he makes that transition. That's always been kind of one of the easier transitions, I feel like, to make, because both of those roles tend to be fairly playmaker-oriented.
Yeah.
And especially in the current meta, where we're seeing a lot of these Brews and Axes and Dooms and stuff run as the 4, should fit Sneyking's style pretty easily.
Yeah, they even usually end up in the same lane in a lot of cases with the 2-on-2 setup. So,
yep.
But yeah, slightly different, but yeah, not really. So a fair point to make, though. Yeah, Monkey's, of course, a somewhat old-school off-lane player. Has been around a long time. He's kind of been one of the stand-in players for a while. In fact, he played for compLexity a couple of years ago as a stand-in for a little bit. I know, the Boston Major, if I'm not mistaken. That was way back when. Anyways, 3rd pick, Bane, going to be coming out. Now, Shadow Shaman, we know this hero's been played as a core Shadow Shaman recently, too. So I'm keeping my eye on that, at least, to see if that's possibly a thing. I mean, now with the Bane pickup, I think it's a little more realistic.
It's definitely possible. We don't really know anything about, is it Shisui?
Yeah. Your guess is as good as mine.
Shisui is SH. We'll just call him SH for now. We don't know what his hero pool looks like. because I frankly have never seen him play.
He's from Ukraine, by the way, it looks like on Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like a snaking hero, but then again, Shadow Shaman is, well, it could actually fit into his playstyle pretty well because it tends to be a hero that gets a lot of farm, and snaking is notorious for being a pretty greedy player, farming pretty heavily on all of his offlaners in the past.
Tiny happening here for compLexity. Tiny change was very curious. The new Avalanche, it feels a little clunky. It's not that crazy upfront burst that we're used to seeing out of the Tiny necessarily, but there have been glimpses of Tiny here and there, despite the uncertainty of what it was going to be doing. And they have Plus Ultra responding with the Pugna, though. Pretty quick one at that. That Nether Ward is definitely going to be annoying this game to deal with for compLexity.
Yeah, very good against Skywrath Mage, and can be, a nice little tool against Magnus, perhaps zapping him as he tries to blink into RP. But, I mean, let's be honest. If there is a player-hero combination on compLexity that has stood out over the last couple of years, it's got to be the Limp Tiny. And I would assume that he's probably going to be on this hero. It seems to be thought of mostly as a mid, from what I've heard. No longer as viable in the offlane role. But I think we also have seen Death play it in the offlane role the other day when we casted them in... we didn't cast it. I casted it with Moxie for the ESL Katowice. So,
okay.
I think he did play Tiny back then.
So you did actually watch them a little bit at the ESL qualifier. It sounds like I know Miracle again. I've casted him before in Southeast Asia, I should say, and definitely a fun player to watch, stand out. But yeah, Death again, really don't know much about him. So did he stand out to you as a good player, aggressive, or what?
Yeah, they were very short games. It was pretty uneven series. In one game, he played Darkseer with Z-Freak on Spirit Breaker, which is an insane combo. And then the other one, like I said, I think it was Tiny, but it also might have been Magnus. And to be honest, the Magnus, both heroes that Limp likes to run in the mid lane. Remaining. And also both heroes that could potentially go to the off lane. And Z-Freak could also pick up the Tiny as well. So I don't really know what I'm talking about, apparently.
All right. Ursa. Ursa coming out for compLexity. The safe lane Ursa, you would think right here to happen.
The Spectre ban, Eternal Envy Classic, EE back to the carry role, I believe.
Yes.
And that is probably his best fit. You got to admit, he played support for a bit, played both different supports. He's played mid, but the EE carries the classic, so pretty happy to see him back in that role.
Honestly, I thought the transition to support was actually going to be very good for him because he is that shot caller. Even when you watch his stream, in his pub games, he's constantly doing the shot calls, trying to communicate with the teammates and trying his best to tell them what they should be doing. Obviously, they don't really listen most of the time, but in the case of a competitive team, you'd hope that would be different. And, he played support for compLexity, but it was also odd feeling. You could tell he wasn't maybe as necessarily comfortable with that role and what the support's supposed to be doing, although he is a little more open to shot calling and stuff. But yeah, they even started doing like the support acts, which obviously took off a little bit, to be fair. But ultimately I do agree with you that even though I expected something initially, Eternal Envy being back to carry just makes more sense in the end.
Yeah, and I will say that this team, the Plus Ultra team, is an incredibly vocal team. I know that Fear is pretty vocal in games. Snake King, very vocal in games. Monkeys Forever, also very vocal in games. So I am interested to see how their communication looks, since all of them tend to be heavy communicators.
Rubik. The Rubik. We have seen that mid Rubik make an appearance once or twice recently, too. So, but I got to think.
Definitely not a Limp hero, though.
Yeah, this game.
It's got to be Z-Freak, right? I mean,
is it
Z-Freak classic?
Z-Freak, and this is going to be a support Skywrath, I would think, because I think the Pugna might have really deterred them from wanting to run a mid Skywrath.
Yeah, definitely.
That most certainly is a hero that it's going to be really difficult to run against, that Nether Ward again. So, okay, Eternal Envy just says, I play this hero. Terrorblade.
Oh, it is Adam on Rubik. Okay, so Z-Freak picking up Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Limp Tiny.
I suppose you probably are looking to get more farm on the Skywrath, to be fair. That's why, technically use that position for player. So.
Yeah, and it actually just combos better. Z-Freak and Death are going to be putting a ton of pressure on this bottom lane with the amount of spam. Both these heroes just really love to throw out their nukes over and over and over. Obviously, magic damage, extremely good against Terrorblade. And then you have the lift into the Earthshock for some pretty easy kills in the top lane, I think.
Pugna versus Tiny seems like a decent matchup for Pugna, actually. The idea of that Decrep to constantly annoy Tiny when he's going in for last hit. So I expect Shisui to fare decently here against Limp. But it is a Tiny after all, and again, Limp Tiny. So we'll probably overall do good. But the point is, maybe better than some others.
Yeah, it'll definitely be annoying. Again, though, it is a Limp Tiny. I am curious just to see how the hero looks now, especially without the easier denies with the tree. But
yeah,
Pugna, he has a pretty mediocre to bad attack animation, and so Tiny should get quite a few denies here as well.
Game 1, guys. This is kicking things off for the North America region. Obviously, there's 4 series going on at once, all to be on the Summit channels. This is the second one. You got the main one, 3 and 4 also going on. In Group A, Evil Geniuses and Team Borster are the other 2 teams. Borster, KVH, Brink, Boris, Jubei, and Kendo God is their roster. So for those that are curious, this is the Group A action. Top 2 teams advancing on, of course.
5-man move to the bottom lane right now.
Interesting. Yeah, they're going S5 on the complexity side. Also to reiterate that, again, 3 teams qualified in North America. So getting to the playoffs, only one of those 4 teams that gets to the playoffs will not go to the major. So odds go pretty high, of course, just simply getting out of the group stages.
Yeah, definitely want to win those first 2 games.
Yeah.
That gives you almost a guaranteed spot.
Yeah, very important. But yeah, complexity, as mentioned, they're all 5 down here, so they were really hoping for some kind of first play. Maybe we catch Eternal Envy out, but he's actually at the top lane. He's going to run that aggressive Terrorblade, get that meta early on, and put some pressure up at the top tower. Seems to be the play.
Very interesting. They didn't even smoke or anything. They just all 5 ran down here. It's a very, very interesting move.
That almost, to me, that seems like they've watched them play recently, or again, they know each other somewhat. They were playing as we're hyping up with one another very recently, so maybe they were trying to guess that they would do something down here at the bottom lane and meet up with them. But
yeah, also anticipating needing to do some sort of lane swap. The was it Plus Ultra? Is that their name?
Yes.
Plus Ultra trying to dodge this Magnus and Skywrath lane, and so by having all the heroes in the bottom lane, they're able to see, okay, it is going to be the Terrorblade top, maybe. They're just waiting for people to show, and then they might do some lane swaps to try and get the matchups that they want.
Pugna does get a very good block, though. You see the Decrep right away coming out, and allows him to get the free last hit on the creep. So, again, as expected, seeing that harassment already. Monkeys in that Sandstorm. This has been something we've been seeing more and more of, these Sand King post 7.20, and in that laning phase, getting that Sandstorm, even maxing it out in some cases, the 100 damage per second with a large radius. Pretty good ability. So
yeah, definitely.
See that throughout. Top lane. This is a try versus try. They run into Rubik all of a sudden, so Rubik just turns around. Rasta, though, he's in trouble now himself. Obviously showing off that he went the Ether Shock, and no crowd control coming from him as a result. So Skywrath, there's a lot of spam damage up here, man. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be a brawler lane for sure. And that Ether Shock, one of the most efficient uses of mana on any hero in the early game.
Yeah.
140 for 95 mana. Very, very strong.
And, of course, in the fork, potentially. So, I guess level 1 up, but as you level it up. 3-4-3. He's just simply going to run away from fear, as, of course, Spain, one of the better traders when it comes to hitting one another. That brain sap, but runs into the Skywrath now, and 2 versus 1 is a little different story. See if you're going to throw out those arcane bolts. Sticks are very important at this top lane, it's fair to say, and you see Rasta already has one at least on his side. See a freak. Is he in trouble here? Oh, he's a little too fast.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see that complexity is just, they're happy to run this tri lane. Ursa, not the best hero against Terrorblade, You know, he's obviously good against most melee heroes, but Terrorblade is probably one of the worst melee hero matchups just because the reflection makes it hard for Ursa to stay on top of him, and also the physical damage from Ursa being heavily mitigated by Terrorblade's high armor.
Yeah. Again, last pick Terrorblade, so I got to think one of the reasons they liked him right there. We see a rotation coming out meanwhile. Z-Freak, he's moving. He's wrapping around the middle lane. The Courier's coming back. He might actually snipe the Courier right here.
He's definitely going to.
Middle, Pugna. No, they're going to be fine. There's the Courier. The timing! I mean,
Radiant's Courier has
that was good. Just perfectly timed.
This guy is good.
Yeah, he's played once or twice before, and then he just commits suicide. So.
And I think the call was probably made by Limp because the Courier actually came up here and ended up handing off the Null Talisman over here. So Limp was able to see the Courier come through the mid lane.
Okay.
Either pinged it out or Z-Freak was watching the map and saw that.
Good communication. Top lane, Metamorphosis still down for 25 seconds. It's actually Ursa on top of Shadow Shaman now. Rasta, he'll go down. First blood going to maybe Miracle. Miracle wants more, damn it. It's a Hungry Bear. He gets slept up. Sleep takes a while to get taken off of him. Pops that overpower, but cannot stay on top of the Bane. Another Arcane Bolt's not enough either. So Bane will survive. Yeah, not removing that sleep immediately was a difference maker. Shackles, level 2 Rasta. They're going to put that on a Skywrath Mage. He is fast, 333 movement speed. Got the double Null Talisman. He'll stay alive, and now back over to Fear. He backs off. So as the levels start adding up, we're starting to see more and more of the brawling and now potential kills happening.
Yeah, interesting that EE decided to go a second point and Conjure Image over getting any reflection in a try-on-try scenario. It seems like the reflection is pretty high value, but just opting to get extra help last hitting against this Rubik Fade Bolt from the second point and Conjure Image.
Pops a Metamorphosis right there. Lim, meanwhile, he's going out with Pugna. He has Z-Freak coming over, but Z-Freak has to stay alive. But now Shisui, he is low. The trees don't, not enough damage for the kill, though, but that bolt, or the concussive shot even, either way, gets the kill. Decrepify's not going to save him there. He goes down. Shadow Shaman, able to get some blocks from Fear, but they're both in trouble now. In fact, Snaking still might be dead. Nope, never mind. Concussive not enough. Z-Freak also low on life. Doesn't have mana to use anything just yet. Needs a little more Fear. The auto attack gets it off, gets the kill just before he goes down.
What a top lane.
It is. It's been a fun one to watch. Already 3-2 start in favor of compLexity.
And Miracle definitely getting the worst out of this. He's only has 11 CS versus Eternal Envy's 25.
See, he's running at Bane once again, but yeah, good point. Ursa not necessarily liking the lane how it's going so far. And he's
in trouble now.
Yeah, he really got separated right here. They were going for the bounty runes, and instead of going for the bounty runes, they're like, we'll take the hero kill. And so they get it. Obviously, 3-4-3 gets the bounty rune in the end, but that was actually a smart heads up from the Radiant team. Middle lane.
Envy having a great laning stage so far.
And that might be a dead Pugna. Decrep would not save him here. In fact, make it worse. So Z-Freak again rotating with me nighttime. He takes full advantage. Sets up the kill mid.
And this is going to be a pretty scary combo as we enter the later stage of the laning stage and the mid game. We're going to have the Tiny Burst with the Ancient Seal from Z-Freak on top of that. That is a huge amount of magic damage for this Pugna, Terrorblade, Shadow Shaman, and Bane to deal with. Really, those are the ones that are going to be burstable.
That's true. Ancient Seal, nice amp with that damage. There's a bottom lane. We really haven't talked about that much, but for good reason. It's just Magnus versus Sand King. Magnus is 35-4. Sand King up there, though, 37-4. So, yeah, they're very, very close back and forth. In fact, Magnus doesn't even have his Skewer yet, but it might not matter here. Well, the Monkey's forever. He's going to stun the other way. Good move by Z-Freak, and he is fast, though, on Skywrassel. Trying to run him down, but Monkeys will evade death. He hides in the trees there. So we're seeing a roaming Skywrath. Is he coming back top? He is. Oh, yeah, they're diving this big time, man. You want to set up, pop the Metamorphosis. This is interesting positioning. Z-Freak is here, 3-4-3. He might end up going down. The stick of the last second keeps him alive. Finally will go down, though. Eternal Envy, the shackles on Miracle, but they take out the Terrorblade. Yeah, that was a bold decision. I suppose I didn't think Z-Freak would be there so quickly, but it works out for compLexity.
Yeah, very good move by Z-Freak, reading the map, reading that they are going to get aggressive in this top lane, and a little bit of classic over-aggression by EE there, but it looks like they may end up finishing off this. Nope, not quite.
Here to use Brain Sap. Yeah, no Brain Sap to follow up. Again, he used initially. Eternal Envy's running back in, but he popped that meta, remember, right before his death. However, Melee's doing plenty. Rasta goes down. They do catch the Rubik in turn. Z-Freak, can he stay alive now? He has a triple null talisman here, and he'll just juke through the trees and survive. So that's Spell Lamp. He's already at 9% Spell Lamp as well as all the intelligence. These null talismans, almost like the massive Wraithband builds that we've been seeing.
She's sweet, turning around mid. Able to heal back up.
That was close.
Interesting prioritization of the Blink Dagger here. Monkeys Forever is only 200 gold away from finishing the Blink. Meanwhile, Death decided to get Arcanes first and a bottle, and now will be going for his Blink. So Sand King is going to be able to get active a little bit earlier, and that could definitely set up Plus Ultra for some more aggression. What
do you think about that, though? Because, yes, the idea of getting Blink, maybe coming to the top lane and setting up a big epicenter could be big, but why not something like drums? You know, get the earlier stats, and with all the team fight happening, you could argue that'd be a nice aura to have for the team early.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it might just be a player preference thing. I don't know. I definitely do like the idea of the Sand King being able to set up earlier. Shadow Shaman, you know, he's like both Shadow Shaman and Bane kind of have to just run in to make plays. And if you have this Monkeys Forever being able to blink in and get the stun off early, you're going to be able to really pick people off.
He wants to use it right here. Now, it's only a Rubik, so in fact, he's not even going to show it yet. That's smart.
Yeah, very smart. And that's going to be a dead Miracle as a result.
He jumps in. There is support here, though. He doesn't have Epicenter. Miracle is not dead, in fact, because Tiny and Skywrath are nearby. Maybe he still is. The Avalanche saving it at the drain line. No, can't toss him away. He dies in the air. A close call, but Shui's there on the Pugna to finish the job. Yeah, very, very close to keeping him alive. But the blink does pay off in the end.
Yeah, and to that point, I think that the blink timing just fits how they want to play this game a little bit more, because you do have a Terrorblade, you do have a Pugna. They have the ability to push down lanes very, very quickly in the early game. And so having that Blink Dagger to set up those fights and force fights around the tower with the blink, it really makes a lot of sense.
Murderous Moppets here. They're roaming around. Skywrath and Tiny going through the jungle. Shadow Shaman might be the victim. Albeit Snake King is actually going to hug the tower for now. Nice scan. Scans right on top of them, so Snake King definitely knows now. They smoked through there too, so they had a ward obviously, but they must have seen they know they're missing whatever the call is. It was well played there. In terms of defense.
Yeah, also maybe just expecting that because the Ursa's now in the mid lane.
Wrap around. They're going for Miracle. He wants that double damage, and it's looking toasty. Oh, he avoids the stun.
The juke.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a juke, we'll call it that. Nether Blast, Miracle. He's got a rage. What the heck? Okay, he's going to get the rage off as the shackles come out, so he's going to stay alive a little bit longer, but he's still probably dead. Yeah, Nether Blast comes out. Easy kill. Terrorblade did get the double damage. Metamorphosis active. Doesn't have a Sunder yet, but okay, that's a lot of damage. Yeah. Rubik is dead.
Dead mid tower as well. Yes, very, very efficient movements by Plus Ultra.
Where's Death? He's got a blink. He's TPing in. He's got RP. Here we go. Can he find the openings here? There's the opening onto the Terrorblade. Is it enough damage? Shotgun comes in, limp for the combo. Yes, it is. Terrorblade goes down. I ask, and well, Death answers.
What made you think you stood a chance?
That was beautiful.
A little bit too aggressive by EE, not expecting the Magnus to be there, but they do get another tier 1 tower 10 minutes in. Surprisingly, the net worth lead is very, very even, despite the towers going their way.
Yeah, it is. Magnus, big part of that, of course. He is top in the net worth chart. And again, that's what I was asking. I was like, where is he? He's just been farming the bottom lane while all this fighting is happening. And sure enough, just like Sand King, he waited to get the Blink Dagger. Now, again, he went the Arcane Boots, as you mentioned, first. So that's why he was a bit more delayed. But clearly having the high impact, and the second death suffered by Terrorblade. Now, with that in mind, Dragonlance almost here, and still Eternal Envy is farming very well. He's just behind the Magnus when it comes to
and we got to look at this Ursa. He is the 5th lowest net worth hero in the game right now.
Yeah.
Still very far away from that Blink Dagger, and hey man, this is a hero that you don't really want to be behind on. He does have the Empower for Magnus to be able to help him to catch up, but he's going to really need to have his team make some space so he can maybe sneak in, grab that Roche if he's going to have any sort of impact in this mid game.
Monkeys. Tricky play right there. He's seeing Rubik was sitting there waiting for his shrine. I think he was waiting for maybe Tiny to come over and shrine together, and Monkey's like, all right, I'll just take the free kill. Finds Rubik. So, poor guy. But yeah, going back to that point, you brought it up too, but the Empower buff, I think, it's not your typical Ursa game where it's like if he gets behind, it's just really bad. But yeah, it's still not the greatest thing ever for compLexity, and they're going to need a big RP. And also Limp, though, I think more important, the fact that Limp has been not really a struggle, but he is behind the other cores currently. Little concerning for compLexity. But the Blink is coming. He has 1,600 gold saved up, so another minute or two.
He's definitely their tempo controller, or is supposed to be their tempo controller. Their whole team really is kind of an up-tempo style of play, but a little bit more passive than they would probably like this game to be going at the moment.
Limp's finding somebody.
We do see this Magnus making a play down towards the bottom. He has RP up.
Monkeys trying to get away, and he will. So they combo open, and he manages to get away. Meanwhile, Z-Freak is picked off by Fear elsewhere. That was over in the jungle, and now we see Shusui, though. That's not going to work. Drain life, but into the Ursa, they just get shredded. So overstepping from Pugna right there, unfortunate for him. But didn't get the initial kill, but yeah, against Skyrath, it looks like, okay, he died. Oh, those were Rost awards even used.
Yep.
Secure down there.
Dire's
Two
middle
different
tower
fights.
is under attack.
What are these awards? These are cool.
The type awards, yeah. Oh, does it say? No, can't do that. Like the circle now, too, makes it so much easier for trapping, of course.
Yes, so much easier. It's not a little bit lower skill cap, but, you know.
How dare you, Valve, lower my skill cap.
Adam struggling to get this level 6. He definitely needs that as Rubik if he's going to have any significant impact in these fights. Should be able to get it up here, farming with Miracle.
Yeah, you can tell that's exactly what they're doing. Get him
Shadowblade queued up for this Magnus, and 5 null talismans on Skyrath Mage. No boots. Who needs them?
You know what's funny about this is that watching the cast earlier where Kyle, he's at the he's with Odie and those guys over there, cast in the European region, and there was, what was it? It was Alliance versus OG, the game 2, where, or maybe it was game 1. Either way, they saw a Skyrath mage, and Kyle was very insistent that there was going to be 5 null talisman on the Skyrath. I think it was actually a Topson Skyrath in that case, the mid Skyrath. He was very, very, I think they did a bet and everything. He actually ended up not getting 5 null talisman, but let's just say that logic runs in the family, right? Where Zach, of course, is brother, so I'm not surprised now that I think about it to see the 5 null talisman. Fear, by the way, he gets taken out, going for the bounty ring control. Unable to protect or take that one, though.
EE needs to be careful. But yeah, going back to the Skyrath, I mean, it makes sense, right? This hero is basically just a huge amount of magic damage, doesn't provide any sort of control, never really has, and his whole purpose is really just to burst people. So what better item
That's 15% spell amp, yeah.
Yeah, it's more than a Kaya.
Yeah.
Gives him some nice stats, mana pool, etc.
He also talked about a Kaya Yasha. He said would also be something very strong on the hero, so I wonder if he might transition into that eventually. We'll see. Smoke play, talking about that, going top lane, Sand King. As we've seen, though, Sand King just naturally is so tanky. Almost 1,400 life right now. And very elusive, of course, in that Sandstorm.
Probably dead here, though.
The RP, it's an Ursa. Yeah, he's dead. Okay. Steals the Sandstorm. Level 4 Sandstorm for Rubik now. It's a pretty good one.
Gonna allow Adam to get some farm, push out waves a little bit.
Yeah.
And not long enough of a death timer for them to head to the Roche pit, but stalling out Monkey's progression is pretty good. It looks like he might be going for drums next. Does have a windlace and a crown in his inventory.
Okay. Just later on. In fact, there you go. Makes the purchase.
Radiant's
gonna
top tower is
potentially try to come with the team as they're pushing bottom lane. They go to the top lane, actually. However, Tiny's down here, ready to go. Skyrath and Ursa also nearby. They got the blinks. Something's throwing off the Radiant team, though. Don't want to overcommit. Sending the illusion, trying to finish the job. Fortification. They kind of feel compLexity nearby. They don't exactly see them,
Dire's bottom
They're going to
tower
finish the tower,
has
though, and get
fallen.
out. That was just good play. Pugna gets another blast off and does the job.
Smoke trying to reposition. They might just go to the high ground and camp out. Snaking, gonna pop his own smoke.
Trying to found somebody, but it allowed to get the Hex off because of the Avalanche, and now the Drain Life on top of that, so they kill Rasta, but at what cost now? The Burrow Strike comes in on top of the Epicenter. No, the Skewer will stop it, however. RP still down cooldown for 30 seconds, though. Trying to save Tiny. Decrepify slowing him down, not slow enough. Ursa sitting on top of Terrorblade, trying to take him out, but it's not going to be. That was an illusion that whole time, by the way. He pops his Enrage. And he is going to be tossed back by Tiny, but Sand King goes in further. No Burrow Strike just yet, but the Sandstorm still doing some damage. Burrow Strike finally comes back up, and Tiny will fall. Over here, Miracle hiding in the trees, saying, please don't find me. Please don't find me. He's got another blink. No TP for 3 seconds. He will have it soon, though.
Z-Freak being chased by Fear. There's the drums from Monkeys. They're going to find the Skywrath for sure.
Burrow, he doesn't have mana, but they have a sleep. There's that damage, but yeah, not nearly enough. Good pursuit. He actually doesn't go the Mystic Flare, by the way. Skywrath. At this point.
Yeah, just opting for more burst damage on a lower cooldown. The Mystic Flare is a huge commitment of mana. And they don't really have the best tools to hold people in place. You know, maybe with the Tiny Avalanche. But you certainly don't want to use it on top of an RP unless it's a solo RP.
Call the turn. The Avalanche toss combo. The Rasta wards are down, but they do get a turn kill, and now they're just going to get a little bounty out of the wards. So compLexity, good timing, and RP is back up, ready to go for Magnus. See about making a move with it. But really, it's compLexity. The theme kind of continues to be they got to make that space for Miracle on Ursa. Maybe the Roshan as they are heading into it here. And it was not really seen. This is the compLexity ward. I'm looking from the vision of the Radiant. Yeah, they did not know they snuck in here.
Yeah, no meta, no wards. Pretty good time to take this.
They're going to check, though.
Oh, Monkeys finds them.
Yep. He jumps in. Monkey
Ursa
says,
very
let's do
low.
it. Ursa goes down. That Nether Blast RP comes out, but the follow-up damage may be lacking, and maybe not. Limp is still alive. The buyback on Ursa, by the way, but there's a Rasta on the other side. Roshan still has plenty of life. Drain life on death. Is going to be the death of him? Yes, it will be. Double kill for the Pugna. And now Eternal Envy. He's in pursuit after Limp, but Limp Avalanche will keep him alive. Back over here, Z-Freak gets bursted down by another blast. And Shui with the triple kill. And this is going to be a Roshan for the Radiant, most likely, at this
double
point.
Double damage Terrorblade. Easily going to claim this up. And a little over ambitious, I guess. The Ursa, he's just so underfarmed, he does no damage.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Roshan
Yeah,
has
it's been a
fallen
rough
to
game
the
for him. That trial line did not go too well, and he's just been playing the recovery game. Even with that Empower buff, it's been a struggle. And you see it down there, 6th place on the network chart. He's going BKB. I do think BKB, to be fair, this game is really good. So that could be a bit of a difference maker.
Yeah, it's pretty mandatory. He actually can't fight without one. There's just too much control on the side of Plus Ultra. It needs to be, I mean, you gotta believe that Fear is gonna just be holding that Fiend's Grip, waiting for Miracle to jump in. So it's a pretty tough Ursa game, to be honest.
Yeah. Zach is clearing out the middle lane. Limp nearby is something being delivered. What is that? The Echo Saber? Looks like it. Echo for Tiny. You got the Shadow Blade finished on Magnus now coming up on the other side, though. Terrorblade has almost got his own BKB. 3,300 gold saved up. Going to push that tier 2 top. 8th lanes on Shadow Shaman. And at 15, he can get that cast range talent as well. So we're going to see some really long shackles and hex initiations.
I don't really know what the game plan is here for compLexity. They don't really have a whole lot of options as far as late game goes. They've got an Ursa Tiny, not typical late game cores.
No. It is a
and
dire
they're
spot.
fighting into a Terrorblade.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Terrorblade, the top net worth in the game on top of that, of course. So no doubt this Radiant squad and Plus Ultra feeling pretty good about their chances right now. In fact, what does Dota Plus feel about this? 86-14. Yeah, that's that feels about right, honestly. You see the net worth chart also skyrocketing quite a bit recently. It's only a 5,000 net worth lead. It's not that it's crazy big, but it is going in favor of, once again, the Radiant team here. But these initiation tools, RP, Tiny combo with an Echo Saber, it's possible.
definitely Terrorblade still pretty low in terms of health, so he's definitely burstable in an RP.
Oh, they catch Magnus though. There's no RP because he's dead. 48 seconds. That double damage. Does he just have perma double? That's the third one, I swear.
Yeah, he's been very, very good at picking those up. Just clicking on that blue rune. Pretty difficult.
Difficult game, yeah. No, it's
Just very good rune control
yeah.
by plus ultra, and this could easily, I mean,
this
should be a full
tower
interact.
at least. Magnus is up in 20.
Yeah, it is 20, so Glyph stalling it out. Definitely going to be the tower.
God. That's crazy damage. Yeah, so they're going to go for the Rex.
Going to go for the Rex for sure.
Yeah, might as well try. 8 seconds. Counting it down. Do they maybe go early and let him come in later?
Oh, the back door.
Back door. Pops a BKB. He wants this damage. Lemmy's like, I'm all in. Monkeys, he missed a stun. And we're going to see the RP possibly coming. Magnus is back up. They can't kill the melee Rex. The BKB is going to be wearing off. They committed for this. Nether Blast also doesn't get the kill. They're going too deep, man. Pugna's going to get bursted down. No, he's still on the Sunder from Eternal Lemmy, but it doesn't matter. Now he can't fight. He has to just simply run with the rest of them. Okay, I mean, they only lose the Pugna. They can't kill the melee Rex, though. So close. Yeah, you see the sorry coming out. He missed that initial stun. Don't know if that would have really made the difference, but either way, close call. But they hold, and a little more time now for the BKB possibility on Ursa. He's farming away.
Wow, that was very close to being the most EE play I've seen in a long time.
I'm with you there. That was I was waiting for that blink in and to kill him, but he was a little too far away.
Death hunting up here, snaking. I think he's in trouble.
Yeah, probably dead. Although maybe
not. A blink actually.
Yeah, he's got a blink and TP, so RP no.
Oh, just misses.
All right, so Rasta
is super farmed.
Yep. Blink Aether.
As expected.
Yeah, like I said, level 15 as well. So that cast range now. I mean, just see the circle around him. This is his hex cast range, and then the shackles on top of that's pretty long. So good about that crowd control coming out. Even more reason why that BKB is so necessary. In fact, Tiny's also going for one. No surprise there. Tiny, that's the other thing with this hero too. Again, with the changes, it felt overall like kind of funky with the new Avalanche, but also the no status resistance on top of that from Grow. So
top shrine is under
you're not going to see these half duration crowd control effects on him anymore. Magnus again caught. Going for the 25-minute rune, trading life. He's invis currently, but just too much stun.
That is a huge deal. He is 90% of their team fight. And they keep finding him. Death has to be much more cautious with his positioning if they're going to have a chance at this game.
And without a buyback on top of that, yeah, they're going to follow the 3-4-3. I agree with you.
Immediately go mid.
Buyback from Rubik, but again, Magnus dead for 30, so this is definitely the melee Rax. Back Hex in, Snaky wants to create chaos, that is. More to the back lines. They're locking up with the Fiend's Grip on Ursa. He has the Enrage and the BKB, but it doesn't matter. Taking plenty of physical damage. He will survive in the end, but he can't do a damn thing offensively. Limp jumps back in. Monkeys did go too deep, tier 4 towers. Turns out those things are pretty strong. But instead they'll go to the top lane without the Sand King, but Magnus is up in 5, so yeah, it's going to be a reset once again.
Yeah, a bit more disciplined back off by them this time, recognizing that they need to get the hell out of there without monkeys available. Magnus respawning as well, but man, these Magnus pickoffs have been the entire story of the game in this mid game.
Is back up. They want to fight this. They know the shrine's being done. Gets hexed immediately as Limp jumps in, but Bing goes the other direction, tries to distract him. He gets taken out. Mystic Flare on Eternal Enemy on top of the RP, as you mentioned, and yes, it's the kill. 700 gold nearly going the way of death. So they do end up getting the Terrorblade and, well, the Bane on top of that. That's all because they wanted to kill the Shrine, which they did, to be fair, but losing your Terrorblade, that hurts.
Yeah, Manta now complete on Envy. He'll be able to Manta off the silences without having to expend a BKB just to get a Sunder off, so that's a very nice tool.
Rasta, Ags, 3005. Is that the respawn time? That's probably the respawn time, isn't it?
Yeah, Envy does this all the time. Always all chats it by accident or perhaps on purpose. To
yeah, right.
Them. Who knows?
To be like, yeah, that's when it's totally coming up, guys. See, the funny thing about that, though, is that the maximum time? Because 50 seconds is when it's up, potentially.
Yeah.
So, not sure. I guess that's the maximum time, then, that you type that out for. Because, yeah, that would make sense. Huh. Anywho. We'll see what it is. Aeon Disc, by the way, finished on Pugna. Of course, a good tool for him. Yules on Sand King. More defensive prowess as a result there. Keep going back to the BKBs. We saw Ursa already had his, but even with it, the Bane still an issue. Tiny getting it though too.
Dire's bottom tower
Very necessary.
is under attack.
Kaya on Skyraz. Yeah, Kaya and quad null talisman. It really is a lot of spell amp.
Yeah, but to your point, that the status resistance not being on Tiny anymore definitely makes this hero more difficult to play. The armor is very good against Terrorblade this game, and the wards as well from Rasta, but it also means that if he gets caught, he's probably going to go down by a Shadow Shaman or even just Monkeys Forever.
And you know what? I don't know if Eternal Envy just knew or something, but it is a full, pretty much a full duration, like almost the max time. Because
we'll see.
Still
30:05, remember?
Yeah. Maybe he was exact. It's a little scary almost. Clear out Ancients in the meantime. Again, Terrorblade with his own BKB. compLexity trying to figure things out. Obviously, if you're keep forgetting the name, Plus Ultra. If you're Plus Ultra over here, waiting for Roshan makes the most sense. Get that Aegis, get the cheese, and then perhaps try to finish the job from there with your Terrorblade. In these next couple of minutes, though, that's where compLexity needs to come through. RP is ready to go again. Ursa. Monkeys again, whiffing that stun. It's not going to necessarily matter, though, in terms of chase, or will it? Tiny wants to go, but that Nether Ward, yeah, they realize you do not want to fight around that.
Dodges the Avalanche with the Yules as well. But yeah, very disciplined positioning here by Plus Ultra. Deliberately just controlling this exact high ground area of the map, making sure that they have access to the Roche and denying it to this Ursa team. Although, smoke up here by compLexity. They want to retake this high ground. It's going to be pretty difficult, though. All ultimates are up.
Oh, this could work. They don't have vision up here. Plus, with the Sandstorm, oh, the blink reaction! Blink. Snake King, a god right there. The trap comes out with the wards. Tiny, he has to kill one of the wards. Back over here, though, Eternal Envy, he's taking on Miracle. Miracle realizes it's not going to be nearly enough. BKB, again, won't matter. Although the RP does save for the time being. No, not enough. Death with the RP, but there's no damage. Follow-up. They lose the Ursa. Terrorblade's going to end up taking out the Magnus on top of that with plenty of support. And yeah, compLexity just got spread way too thin right there. Missing that blink initiation allowed Rasta to get everything down. And then we saw the end result.
Seafreak does get the courier, but they're going to force these buybacks out and then head to the Roche pit.
To be fair, you know what part of that was? Well, I'll get that in a second. 3-4-3, he gets caught, and he's definitely staying dead. Ursa and Magnus both with the buyback. Seafreak's dead. He buys back immediately. Limp, he would not have one if he dies right here. Ursa jumps in, but the Yules, he just cannot play. His game asunder, and he's going to die shortly after. Dieback for Ursa there. And that could be the beginning of the end now. Ursa just has not been able to play Dota 2 this game at all.
Kind of as expected, to be honest. He really just... I mean, this is one of the most difficult combinations of heroes you could possibly go into. Terrorblade, very good against Ursa. And just an incredible amount of disable. Means he has to get the BKB, but then there's a BKB piercing disable. Very long Fiend's Grip duration, and frankly, they don't have the best counter for that either.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Back to the point, though, on this fight. 3-4-3, he actually went in the trees here, and he used his Sandstorm that he had stolen. And I think that might have given information before the smoke had necessarily popped, and maybe a little more reaction time. I don't know 100%, so I'm not going to say either one way or the other, you know, absolute, but something like that. I wonder if that kind of gave Snake King the read in terms of blinking as soon as he saw that, figuring initiation would be coming. So, but either way, it was a hell of a reaction on his part and set up the turn as we saw. He buys a gem now as well. Interesting there. I mean, he was working towards an Axe, but figures the gem value is pretty important in this game.
Yeah, just taking over all of this vision. There are a lot of wards and sentries around this area on the Dire side. And back to that point that we were talking about, Tiny stats resistance, you know, that Hex, that initial Hex by Snake King on Tiny would have been over in like half of a second. you know, a patch ago.
Yeah.
But instead, he was controlled for 3 or 4 seconds before the rest of the team was able to come to his aid.
Here we go with Roshan.
Another double damage on Eternal Envy.
Just seems to work. Hey, you put yourself in those positions to get the wards or the runes, though, and you know that's best thing you could do, taking advantage of RNG.
Big wraparound. Death with the RP.
RP, Eternal Envy's getting low. Can he get a center off? No, he cannot. The lockdown is enough. Ursa wants to finish off with the Fiend's Grip, locking him down throughout this. However, compLexity should be able to take Roshan, or will they? The Aegis is picked up by Limp. Roshan was technically killed by the Radiant, so Stinking got credit for the kill, although he's in trouble now. He goes down. Here comes Terrorblade, pops his Metamorphosis. Miracle's in trouble. In comes the Epicenter, and down falls Tiny as well as the Ursa. Ursa stained Tiny. Comes back up with the Aegis, 3 for 3, says like I'm out of here, I like you and everything, but not much more I can do about this. So Tiny, he's well, he's gonna be slept up forever. That's what the Enfeeble on top of that. So easy kill on him. Remember, Ursa's not buying back right now. Tiny could. And there we go. Figures he has to. Death Ball push incoming.
Really good RP and wraparound by compLexity, but with that buyback on Terrorblade, hadn't gotten the chance to even expend the Metamorphosis. He's able to buy back with the BKB and the meta and easily win that fight.
Skyrath over here, just trying to get some vision down and at least farm a little bit in the meantime, but he needs to be careful now because exactly where they're heading. He will figure that out. So compLexity still hanging in there by a thread. They're going to lose yet another shrine. You also look at the offensive game from compLexity in terms of what they've accomplished. They only have 2 tower kills. That's also another major concern. 34 minutes in. Have only had the ability to get 2 tower kills. No doubt to the credit of a Radiant squad and Plus Ultra in terms of how they've just controlled the map and been the ones constantly pushing themselves. Rubik has another
very commanding position.
Can make use of
very
that.
commanding position for Plus Ultra at this point.
Lotus Orb tanking. Nice.
There is the opportunity with the Terrorblade buyback on cooldown, but it kind of goes back to the fact that this roster on compLexity has very low tower damage. So even if they do take a good fight and kill the Terrorblade with no buyback, they're going to struggle to actually get a whole lot out of it.
Yeah, I guess Tiny really is their only decent base hitter. So farming up the Radiant jungle even now, but Eternal Envy, he's got an Aya Scotty. Feeling pretty cozy about this game. Although we did see, I mean, with the combo, the RP, Tiny jumping in with the follow-up, they can kill him. Even with the Aya Scotty, they most certainly can still burst him. Ursa gets on top 2.
Yeah, a bunch of extra HP though, and the armor from the agility. And as if Ursa's game couldn't have gotten any harder, now he has the permanent Scotty slow to deal with as well.
And Seafreak's playing this hero in Skywrath, you know, constantly trying to push out lanes. It's just not like Skywrath is really known for doing said thing, pushing out the lanes. He's one by one working on those creeps. But it's not going to be nearly enough of a push to draw back the Radiant, and they'll just keep taking control. We mentioned that gem earlier. It's currently on Sand King now, and you look at the vision or lack thereof from compLexity now. There's basically nothing on the map. It's a dark map for them, understandably so. Even more reason why it's looking like a dire game for them. Radiant definitely needs to push in this bottom lane, though, so I'm a little surprised no one's going down there to do so.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They're actually prioritizing keeping compLexity stuck in their base instead of splitting up to go push this wave. And they figure that by the time they get this bottom wave all the way up to this tier 2 tower, compLexity will have had too much space and get the other lanes out. And so as a result, they're just cutting this wave over and over, waiting for their own creeps to push. So we might actually just be here at this kind of stalemate positioning for the next couple minutes until this Radiant wave is able to break through all the dire ones.
You're constantly seeing somebody keeps pinging down at the bottom right there. Although here we go, they are going to engage compLexity, getting impatient. They try to smoke out.
Sleep timing. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's insane. Oh no, the Fiend's Grip. Okay, well, going to be canceled.
Stolen sleep by Rubik.
Okay, trying to use that defensively. Eternal Envy, though, and the Metamorphosis and the Ward Trap. Tiny, no chance. 105 seconds. He's staying dead. It just, again, the pre-patch doesn't nearly happen like that, but this ain't pre-patch.
And they say, to hell with this bottom set of racks. We have a Terrorblade and a Pugna. We're going to end the game.
Maybe. They're still being a little cautious. They're spreading out. Oh, RP. It catches Terrorblade, but
Decrep.
Mystic Flare. Decrep on top of the Lotus Orb. He's fine. Or is he? Sunder. No, he's not fine. He goes down.
Explodes.
Yeah, somehow did explode, but there are still other enemies to worry about. Of course, Sand King having to blink out himself, but Ursa, he's standing right for 70. Rubik does buy back. It's just Rubik and Skywrath now, however. So their tier 4s are falling. And as, well, they're able to kill Eternal Envy, but I don't think that's going to ultimately hold them off in the end.
Nice double stun.
Hey, there's the Yasha and Kaya. I called it. Yeah, at least he bought the Yasha and Kaya right before. So game 1, though, going the way of Plus Ultra. Congratulations to them. Best of 3, but off to a good start. The Terrorblade Gaming, it's still here. It's still very real, even post 7.20.
Yeah, that was a pretty clean game, actually, from Plus Ultra, aside from that one slight overextension at that mid set of racks. But other than that, they look very, very in control of the entire game.
I think, again, looking back at the draft, and especially how the game played out, a little bit of an outdraft too. The Ursa, and that was a last pick Ursa. It's not like Terrorblade was even necessarily the biggest deal for him. It was an issue. It's a core, as you would mention, with the high physical armor, so sure he's good. But yeah, he picked up this, or they, I should say, picked up this Ursa into, or no, it was a 4th pick Ursa, now I think about it. No, wait, was it? Anyways, point is, we got game number 2 coming up here. I don't know what point I was going on there. A bit of an outdraft, whatever you want to call it. Obviously well played by Plus Ultra on their side. So we're going to take that short break at the China Major qualifiers for the North America region. You're at a Group A. Well, stay tuned. Game number 2 coming up next.